All right, guys, welcome back to the Rick Shiels Golf Show
Keep it in, keep it rolling.
Welcome back to the Rick Shiels Golf Show podcast, everybody.
Only taking you 237 attempts.
This is episode 238. Welcome back to the show, everyone. I'm Rick Shiels. I'm here with co-host Guy. We've had you know what? This week has been too busy.
What'd you say?
Yeah. We've non-stopped making content for you wonderful people who watch and listen to the podcast and the main channel and Hit channel. This morning, in fact, quick shout out, the Hit channel has just hit this very morning 250,000 subscribers.
Woohoo.
People said it was dead, Guy.
You did?
People said it's gone. It's never coming back. Well, back and it's back to stay. So yeah, the support on the Hit channel has been amazing. Thank you so much for everybody who has subscribed to the Hit channel. 2 videos every single week, Thursday and Sunday. And
they are amazing videos. Do you think, you know, we said we've had a busy working week. Do you think we'd get more done if we extended our working hours from 12 till 2 to a bit more than that?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I think 2 hours a week is a busy week.
2 hours a week?
Oh, we work Thursdays, 12 till 2.
Maybe if we did full length days, we'd get a lot more done.
Yeah, but I sometimes say to my wife when I'm at home, because she happily watches golf with me, but sometimes I'll put it on and say, oh, it's work, because I need to know what's going on.
And I like waking up at 11 a.m.
I do.
And going to bed at 3 in the morning.
That's actually what you do.
Pretty much, by the 11 a.m. But anyway, it's been a good week. We've filmed loads of content that's coming your way soon. We went to what can only be described as one of the most picturesque golf courses in the UK. We'll come on to that in a moment. But we're going to kick things off by talking about, is team golf the future, Guy?
Well, so as people may know at home, I'm sure they will, this weekend was LIV Adelaide, and it was the PGA Tour. What's the event called? Got out of my head. What was the event called?
Zurich
Zurich Classic, which was obviously won by the Irish guys in Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry. We've had a question though, Rick. This leads us nicely onto this topic from Ross Stockham on our Facebook group, and he says, "Hi Rick and hi Guy. Did you watch the 2-hole playoffs for the team side of the LIV tournament? Do you think it will grow the interest in the team side of the tournament? On a side note, how good was it that the Rippers won? I think it may have overshadowed the winner of the actual tournament. What do you think?" So with that this weekend and the Zurich tournament obviously win, and we saw, I don't know if you saw Rory singing and Shane Lowry down a few beers afterwards. Is there something now to be said that team golf is the future?
It was certainly an exciting weekend for golf. I would say that. I mean, it was exciting. I mean, really, no disrespect, but Rory and Shane Lowry won, mainly because Scotty Scheffler didn't play. Imagine if Scotty Scheffler and Nelly Corder had played in that event.
Imagine if you and Scotty Scheffler played. Would you have had a chance?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I really do. I think you would have dragged me through anything. No, but all credit to the guys, McIlroy and Lowry. They were definitely the most high-profile partnership in that tournament. They went on to win it in a 1-hole playoff. It was actually, you know what? The back nine was actually really exciting golf. The leaderboard was like stacked. I think Ramy and Trainer got to 26 under. McIlroy and Lowry were like 3 or 4 shots back. Then they got it close. It was just epic. I mean, in a foursomes to shoot 63, which Ramy and Trainer did in the final round.
Ridiculous.
That is honestly ridiculous. I mean, unfortunately, they kind of somewhat fuffed it a little bit in the playoff hole where McIlroy and Shane Lowry played a nice conventional par, but. To shoot 63, to shoot under par foursomes is really, really hard.
Foursomes is solid.
If you don't know what foursomes is, it's alternate shot. And what makes that challenging? What makes that so challenging is, one, you never quite feel like you get into a flow of it as a player, do you?
No.
You're playing half a round, and sometimes that might just be a little tapping of a putt, and the next shot you're hitting is like a long 3-wood into a par 5 because your playing partner just hit driver. It's a fascinating format. One, to be honest, I'd actually like to see a little bit more of. I actually liked the different format this week. For me, I would love to see some more pairs events, some more team events where the format isn't just stroke play. Even though LIV is obviously it's team event and it's best score, and then all 4 scores count on the final day. For me, I like these different formats, whether it's foursomes, whether it's better ball, whether it's scramble. Like, imagine if one of these days was a scramble. Like, how cool would that have been? But overall, Shane Lowry, McIlroy took the win. It's McIlroy's, whether you can count it or not, it's 25th PGA Tour win.
Can you count it?
I would say it's 24 and a half.
If it was your first PGA Tour win, would you feel like it was a real one?
It's not, is it?
I feel like the whole, we've talked about a lot recently, the asterisk next to a hole-in-one, if there's a reason why it wasn't really a real hole-in-one.
I mean, you've still got to play incredible golf,
Absolutely.
don't get me wrong, and there's no, that's the format of the event, so you can't take it away.
You've won the event.
You've won that event. How does the prize fund work for this event?
I don't know. I'm sure it just is normal in terms of it obviously goes down, then you split whatever you get.
Yeah, I'll have to have a look at that.
Imagine if there's like some clause afterwards where it's like you get 100% between you two, then you have to decide between you how you split it up. Thummy war.
That'd be quite good. Well, the purse is $9 million, which I actually don't think is a huge purse now in the PGA Tour.
No.
What's that? Banking.
There's a dog upstairs. It might be the dog. So we can work through it, Matt. It's okay. I think it's stopping.
I can't hear it too much.
It could be a dog.
It's either a dog or a bear. We've got living upstairs at the moment.
Here's another golf podcast infiltrating our territory.
Maybe they're bouncing golf balls on the floor.
What would you do if another golf podcast came in here now acting hard? I would what?
Be like a scene of Anchorman.
Yeah. Talking about golf balls and clubs and tees.
I mean, you and me are both be hiding behind Matt.
Yeah.
And Ed.
There's jiu-jitsu.
They're pretty hard.
Pretty handy. Handy lads. Handy young
Go
lads.
on, lads. Go on, rough them up. Do them in. Go on.
Who would be the most threatening podcast that'd walk in?
I'm pretty...
Finchy would just knock you out clean, wouldn't he, straight in? He'd bounce in here.
Finchy.
You would. He'd bounce in here.
You're actually having a laugh.
No, do you think he'd win?
Oh my God, that might be the most insulting thing you've ever said to me.
Finchy's stacked.
In all the wrong places. He's not stacked in here. In bloody, I'll show him where the bloody the haymakers come from. I'll show him where it comes from. So yeah, genuinely, I think it was a very solid PGA Tour event this week. Going back to the other point, the playoff at LIV was absolute mayhem.
You know what? This is, and to be honest with you, it was an interesting week, like I said, for team golf in the sense that it was PGA Tour was team this weekend, then obviously the LIV golf event on this weekend. And that question kind of alluded more to the LIV side of things. Now, I didn't watch any of this live because of the time difference, obviously, with being in Australia. However, I have watched the playoff on YouTube, and there was something about it for me, and I'll be honest, I've had my critiques over LIV many a time. This, for me, was the first time where the actual team side of things really felt like it had a lot of weight.
The team meant much more than Brandon Steele winning.
Correct. I think
Brandon Steele won. He picked up his $4 million. Don't get me wrong, unbelievable. He's not... Brandon Steele, let's be honest, is he winning that on the PGA Tour? No. It'd take him 2 or 3 years to win that on the PGA Tour. But yeah, the fact that the Rippers, the home team in Australia, because they're all Australian, went up against effectively the South African team in the Stingers. Both teams on 53 under par. And it was best, the teams got to choose 2 players to go into the playoff. And then the second hole of the playoff was just carnage, wasn't it?
Well, it was
it the first hole? Was it just one hole?
No, it was second hole, because the first hole they drew, and they went back again, and Ripper were 1 over, and Stinger GC were 2 over. The crowds were impressive. Huge. I think Australia are arguably the country that most appreciate having a tournament there.
I would agree.
And some of the scenes were very wild, which I think LIV obviously embrace, and the watering hole, etc. They kind of want people to get like that. I think watching that playoff, though, irrespective of if you like LIV, you hate LIV, you love PGA Tour, you hate PGA Tour, whatever your allegiance is, or you might not have an allegiance, I think that was one of those events where certainly during times that last hole, you thought it'd be good to be there.
But the other thing was, because it meant something.
Correct.
For the first time, really, as a team, in their home country, the Rippers, Australian team, it meant something to the fans. And that, I've said this a million times over about the teams, they have to be location-based. You know, even if, for example, JCB, which is taking place in July at LIV, the LIV event at JCB.
Yep.
If the Majestics team which obviously got Henrik Stenson in there, who's Swedish. But if that was a full-on UK team, you could imagine the crowd being fully behind that team and wanting that team to win, like we saw in Australia with Rippers, like we would see in South Africa with the Stingers. I feel like every team needs to have that storyline. It needs to be connected to a location.
You're right, and I do agree. And I think we said this before, that it definitely, when you create a team and a team is born, there needs to be something that you can kind of relate to then buy into that team. And I think typically that would be obviously location. It would be so much easier for me to get behind an English team. However, one thing that kind of on this weekend was the Super Bowl picks, what's it called? The draft. And I don't know anything about it at all.
Nothing.
But I know that some people in the UK do follow NFL and naturally will pick a team for whatever reason that might be, whether there's been a player they liked who played for that team, whether they went on holiday to a certain location. But English people do tend to pick, if they like NFL, a team. So there is a chance that people can just pick a LIV Golf team for whatever reason, whether you're a massive Rahm fan or whether you're a massive Martin Keimer fan, you want to spot the cliques, whoever it might be. It could happen, but I think for the more kind of neutral, which is what we're saying, it definitely makes it more set. If you're an Australian and you're kind of semi into golf, how much easier is it to go to that event, have a few beers and suddenly become a massive Ripper fan because they are Australian?
And also Fireballs, 3 of them are Spanish.
Yeah.
So that's another one as well, where I can imagine when the Valderrama event comes around, you've got 3 of them that are Spanish, and then actually Abraham Hanser, who's from Mexico. Like, you can imagine that team having a huge following as well at their home event. I don't know. It definitely felt different, this event, and it felt like the crowd were really, really desperate for their team to win. It seemed like they were practically booing when the Stingers were hitting their shots. Like, they were almost practically booing and kind of giving them quite a lot of jip, really. One thing I don't understand, okay? You saw it a lot. I've never quite got this yet. A shoey.
Yeah, I think we might have discussed this last year. I could see you doing a shoey, though.
100%.
But you don't...
But you know what I also noticed this year? There was actually shoes that had been branded by a drinks company.
Oh, as a...
And basically, you just drink from that shoe.
So it's not really from a shoe, then, is it?
Well, it is, but it's not from your shoe.
Yeah.
But it's a weird concept, that, isn't it? You pour a beer into your shoe, and then you drink it. I don't get me wrong. I'm all over it. If I was in that mix...
If the shoe fits.
If the shoe fits, drink from it.
Yeah.
But it is... Where did that ever come from?
I've no idea, and it's not something that I would partake in, Rick. I would stand at the side and I would judge people that are doing it, and I would look down my nose at them.
With your dry socks.
Which is what... my sock and my shoe. No, but would you shoe? The sock can always be... Oh, you'd be wet because you put it back on. I'm with you. Right, okay, yeah.
You with your dry sock and your dry shoe.
Yeah.
I'll be squelching around.
Kiss me shoe. Oh. The ECCO... You know what, though? You've got the best shoes for it, because
you are right.
Your ECCO footwear, which are Gore-Tex and fully waterproof, you might pour your beer in there, none would escape.
None.
Apart from right down your gullet. It would...
And I'd give it a little shake, perfectly dry.
Well, what is also exciting is that this is obviously coming out on Tuesday. We're currently on Monday as we record this. On Friday was a big day in the world of Rick Shiels. You broke 85, so well done.
Thanks.
And no, you had your first ever signature golf shoe released to the public. So
how cool is that?
You have got, I'm sure people have seen it, an insane golf shoe. ECCO, and you know what? You're the ECCO ambassador, Rick. So I'm gonna comment on this for 1 second now. I wear ECCO because obviously you have ECCO and I get access to ECCO footwear. Hand on heart, and this is truthful now, believe me or don't believe me, ECCO golf shoes are the comfiest shoes on the market, period. I used to work for Nike Golf, and I have a great love for Nike still, certainly for trainers and stuff like that. The ECCO footwear, under your foot, when you're walking 4 or 5 miles around the golf course, you want a shoe that's waterproof, that's going to stay looking nice for a long period of time, it's easy to clean, easy to maintain. Genuinely, there's nothing that comes close.
Yeah.
The price point to some degree reflects that. They're not super cheap. They are, priced at a point where you should expect quality and performance. Premium. But I think you get what you buy with the golf shoe. It's one piece of kit as well. When you think about the fact that, again, you are walking 4 or 5 miles. If you play a lot of golf, I would always recommend buying a good pair of golf shoes. If you play once every blue moon, then maybe playing a train or whatever. But if you're serious about your golf, you are very serious about your golf, Rick.
Too serious.
Then you need a good pair of shoes. Anyway, that being said, you have launched a shoe, and let's be honest, you were excited for it to launch and somewhat nervous, which I understand. You've got a shoe coming out. It is selling like hot cakes.
Like hot?
Forget your
hot
lukewarm cakes or your cold cakes. They're selling like hot cakes. As it stands right now, Rick, size 10 and size 10.5/11 are gone. So if you're a size 10, unlucky, you're too late.
You're gone.
If you're a 9 like myself, there's a handful left.
Well, and size 13s have sold. We didn't have many of those, but they've sold. Yeah, this is really, really exciting. Honestly, something that a couple of years ago got floated as an idea, and I was like, wow, that would be a dream come true. And the fact it's now become reality is amazing. The feedback online has been superb. Seeing people buy them and order them and send me the tweets and Instagram saying I can't wait to get hold of them. There are still shoes available, just it's ultra limited edition. Whether we ever release this shoe again, who knows? This could be the once in a lifetime opportunity to pick up your very own ECCO Biome C4 Rick Shiels edition shoe. So get them while you can. It might even become a collector's item, guy.
I was just thinking that I wonder if, right, someone's got an extra couple £100 lying around. You know what, I'm going to invest. You buy your pair, you leave them in the box. In 12 years' time, you go on Antiques Roadshow and you go over to the man and say, hey, what have you got there? I've got these, unboxed them, completely fresh in the box with tags and receipt. Worth 50 quid.
A shoe. 100 quid total.
No, very nice.
It's
very
really,
nice.
really good, guys. If you want to get a pair while you still can, there's a link in the top line of the description. Available in Europe and the USA. So get them while you can. Definitely something I'm excited about. And I've worn them now in quite a few videos, and every time I look down, I have a little smile on my face because it's my own bloody golf shoe.
It's weird as well, you've gained distance.
Too much distance.
Because I thought I was longer than you. Most people know 12 yards, etc. But now, that little bit more speed it's delivering to you, you're like a couple of yards past me.
And the challenge is, now I can sometimes thin a wedge 20 yards past the green as well.
Then it spins back. So
I used to only thin them 10 yards past the green.
But it's also weird, though,
distance.
and this is the thing that worries me a little bit, is that you've started to wear them off course as well, naturally. You've got your own golf shoe, why would you not? The amount of heads that you're turning wearing that shoe. When we walk around Morrison's together, the amount of people, and I'll be honest, a lot of women are looking at you in a different way now. It's like you've got this swagger.
It's getting beyond the joke, actually.
Yeah.
My wife actually pulled me up on it this weekend and said, listen, you have to take those shoes off.
The amount of angry husbands that I've got to push to one side as they approach you and the wife starts drooling looking at you, it's incredible, but yeah.
It's too much.
You do look really well in them.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
It's not the same effect for me, unfortunately, so we can't promise that, but yeah, great golf shoe. Speaking of great golf shoes, how can I work this in now? You need great golf shoes to be comfortable. You need to be comfortable when you're walking along golf course.
Yeah.
Long golf courses can be pretty, and not really working this very well. On Thursday, we played a very, very, very pretty golf course. That didn't really work.
Almost.
Nearly.
Well, these shoes, I played golf in these shoes.
And I played in a pair of ECCO as well, so there you go.
We went and played, and we're going to title the video, The Pebble Beach of the UK.
Correct.
And you know what? It was actually, I already had high expectations. It blew those expectations out the water.
Correct.
Out of the 360 panoramic views of the ocean,
yes,
it blew it out the water. We went to Nevin Golf Club, kind of spelled almost like Neffin, but the locals pronounce it as Nevin. In Wales, it's only a west coast. On the west coast of Wales, really, really loved it. There's 27 holes there. It's an 18-hole championship course, which we actually played the front 9 of the championship course.
Spectacular.
And I didn't know what to expect, because over the 27 holes at Nevin, you've got 9 holes, which is separate to the championship course, which is called The Point. It's on this peninsular area, which I have played those 9 holes many, 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 many years ago and was blown away. And for me, I couldn't wait to play out 9 holes. Yeah. And we were almost playing the front 9 as just a bit of filler.
Yeah.
Almost like, let's play the front 9, and then we can move on to the point and play the back 9. The front 9 was absolutely incredible.
It was.
Wasn't it?
It gave us Crail vibes.
It was Crail, but higher. Crail, but on a cliff edge. Really, really, really impressed with the golf course. We got very, very lucky with the weather. It was a beautiful day. Started off quite cold, but as the sun came out, the views just kept getting better and better and better. We filmed the Break 75 there, which will be out in a few weeks.
Yeah, in a few weeks.
We're still quite ahead of schedule at the moment, which will be good to know. So even content coming out this week was filmed pre-Christmas.
That's right, mad, isn't it?
That is mad, actually. So videos will be coming out in due course. So not everything's live. I think I've said this to you on the podcast before. You hardcore podcast listeners know this. You played very, very nicely.
Yep.
Give you credit. You did play very nicely. I had a very interesting round of golf, which you're going to have to see to believe.
Roller coaster?
I would say a hell of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
My head bloody hurt going home from that place on Thursday. But everyone... Genuinely, if you have got a trip lined up to the UK or to specifically Wales, put Nevin on your wish list to play.
Absolutely. And you know what's mad? I've only played twice this year, which is crazy. I think it's nearly May now. Albeit the 2 courses I've played have been phenomenal. One in Woodhall Spa and then Nevin. And it got me thinking that obviously not everyone is fortunate enough to have the cash lying around to go and treat themselves to play fancy golf course all the time. I get that totally. But for those people who might be in a situation where you're not sure whether to maybe rejoin your golf club or join a golf club or use that money that you would spend to go and play other courses, there's not a right or wrong. If you want to play week in, week out, have a handicap, play club comps, create a friendship group, whatever, joining a golf club is amazing. I would definitely recommend it. But for people that maybe aren't sure, or maybe even for a year or so, say if your golf fees would cost £1,000, to put that to one side and go and have a year of playing some of these courses like a Nevin, I would absolutely recommend. There's so many amazing golf courses, some of which are the obvious, your Birkdales, your Royal Liverpools, which will be a bit more expensive. But some of these ones like a Nevin, I don't actually know the green fee. I can't actually what is it?
What do you think it is?
It could be £100 if it wants to be.
So this is quite interesting. The green fee that's out right now, it obviously varies different times of the year, but right now, if you're to go and play in May, okay, you get the 18-hole championship golf course. That's the green fee that you pay for,
right,
and you get to play the 9-hole point for free.
Wow! And how much?
So
is it?
Effectively, you get 27 holes. Have a guess. Let's go weekend rate.
£120.
Almost half.
60-ish quid.
So Sunday through to Thursday, 65 quid.
Wow.
Friday and Saturday, 75 quid.
You know what? Value.
It's good, isn't it?
It really is. And again, if you're doing that and having a membership, golf can get pricey. But I said, incredible. And I think as well, what I learned, the more golf courses I play, is that you do become a more rounded golfer. And again, I know that might sound silly when you see some of the bad golf that I can play, but play these other courses. And when you are a member of a golf course, I think you become so reliant on just knowing where to miss, where to hit a good shot to, what club you'd normally hit on said hole. Play these other courses, there's so much more to take into account. I think it does help you. And you kind of, might be a really silly analogy, but almost like a football team that are good at home, and then you travel away and you can't perform. I think the more golf you can play away, I think the better golfer you do 100%.
Become. Because you go back to your own course, and I think you also appreciate your own course sometimes when you've been away and travelled.
Absolutely.
The other thing on that, sorry, quick, April, August, and October, those 3 months in particular, it's £10 off those green fees.
God, get there in April.
So it's £55 Sunday to Thursday for 27 holes.
Gosh.
Of the Pebble Beach of the UK, and 65 quid Friday, Saturday. This is not a paid advert. I'm just...
No.
Give credit where credit is due. Like you said, they could double that green fee.
100%, and they might do now, unfortunately, sorry. The only thing and the caveat I would say, and this is no fault of Nevin or any of these coastal courses, if you went there with a group of friends and played it on a sunny day, you will have, I imagine, one of the best experiences you'll ever have on a golf course. If, however, you turn up and it's raining and it's windy and it's cold, it will be absolutely brutal.
You can do a live view of the golf course.
Can you look at it right now? It looks quite dark right now.
I think we got really lucky with the weather.
Honestly,
I'm just online now, and right now, as we're recording this podcast, just before lunchtime on the Monday, the 29th of April, it looks like it's a bit of a dreary day at Nevin today. Yeah,
imagine that on a nice summer's evening, just be absolutely exceptional. But on that though, obviously on Friday just gone, we had the Break 75 at Woodhall Spa on the Hodgkin Golf Course come out, an amazing golf course. And there's been a lot of comments, Rick. And we won't go too deep on this because we were made to feel so incredibly welcome at the Woodhall Spa, and we'll definitely be making a trip back there. But Neil Deacon has said on the Facebook group, just watch this week's video. Does it frustrate you when the green staff / club intentionally make the golf course a ridiculously difficult? What do they get out of it?
How would they have made it ridiculously difficult?
The pins. which you alluded to a couple of weeks ago.
The pins.
The pins were tough.
I'm sorry to say. I am sorry to say, because as Guy mentioned, we had a great time at Woodall Spa, playing both rounds of golf. We got to feel really welcome, and the Bracken course the day before, it was wet, it's horrible. I played really well. Course was set up very fairly. The greens, much, obviously you didn't play the Bracken, but the greens are so much harder at Bracken. You could have put the pins in some of the most ridiculous positions in the world on the Bracken course, but they didn't. It was fair. And often when the pins are placed, you normally have 6 easy pin positions, 6 medium pin positions, and 6 hard. That's fair. Yep. Okay. I'm still quite emotional about this. I counted up, and
have you actually done this?
Yeah.
Well, it's serious when Rick gets the notepad out.
I counted up. In fact, I have been messaging a greenkeeper from there who's disappointed with my comments apparently, and I went through every single pin position that I played that day, and I won't be able to find the message right now, but it was something along the lines of, I've got it here. Here we go. Right. So I thought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of the pins were, and I've quoted ridiculous. 10 of the pin positions, and I've put 11th was a stupid pin. That was the par 3 where I went left and got an incredible up and down, and you stiffed it and missed it.
The putt. Yeah, because the pin was too bad.
It was a yard on the green.
I actually hit a good shot on that one. On the other par 3, I hit a good shot. I actually didn't. I blocked it a little bit, but they were very, very, very tight.
And I genuinely, when we talk about this, when it's like 6 pins being difficult, fine. Not bloody 10 or 11 pins being absolutely outrageous. And I understand if there's a pin on the left, you can't miss left. You can't short side yourself. I did it a couple of times and got away with it, or didn't, or got punished. What I did find out, though, afterwards, is the pins were purposely set up in a difficult position, because certainly in the winter months, that golf course plays a lot easier than what it would do in the summer. And, they didn't particularly want us to shoot a good score. And I think a pro locally, a couple of weeks before, shot like a 62 or something.
Well, if they knew I was playing as well, the bracket.
With your bloody putting.
Those are the greens. There's the pins.
But yeah, I was really, really, really disappointed. It did affect my enjoyment of the round of golf, because for me, just the pins were the most ridiculous pins I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And they're not the first club to do it.
No, they won't be the last, unfortunately for you. I get this. I think it's this different at a golf club, and you'll know this very much, Rick, from working at a golf club in your previous years. You've always got separate parts. I mean, you've got the pro and the pro shop and those kind of staff. You've then got the golf club, the secretary, the management, etc. And you have obviously the greens committee and the greens team and the greens staff, etc. And they've obviously all want the same things for business to thrive, but they've also got different priorities. And I think the golf club, from their side of things, you'd imagine if you're going playing and filming a video there, they're excited for the exposure. And jokes aside, if they then get more footfall, they may look to potentially increase green fees, which then makes them a better revenue, which is great for the golf club, etc. So that's kind of what they want out of it. The green staff, however, they want obviously their golf course to be seen to be as good as possible on camera, or just anyway, even if you're not going filming. I think also green staff naturally, and I get this, want the golf club to be a good test of golf, don't they? I think that's something that golf greenkeepers want. And I think they probably did think, well, if Rick comes and shoots a score that's really good, he thinks it's easy. Because also as well on that, sorry to kind of elaborate a bit more, but I think sometimes people think an easy golf course can't be a good golf course, and that a hard golf course is a good golf course. And I don't think that always aligns. I think you can have an easy course that's still great, and you can have a hard course that's still rubbish.
The thing is, we were playing after like the back tees in March. It was the ball's not rolling very far. The rough's down, granted. Yeah. From what I've heard, it was an instruction from the club.
Right. Okay.
Or an instruction from not a greenkeeper to put the pins in those spots.
Well, there you go. It was tough, but it was a great experience. But speaking of putting and the greens and etc., we've had a message from Mike Swiffen that I think I've kind of filled you in a little bit on, Rick, but I'd like to elaborate a bit further. He has asked, did Ping replace Rick's rusty putter? So we recently did a video, as I'm sure a lot of people listening and watching will know, where Rick got fitted for a Ping PLD putter. And a number of months later, the putter got delivered. And your experience was, Rick? Elaborate.
The experience of the fitting and the actual putter was a bit underwhelming for the price. It costs £2,000 for this putter fitting. We've said it in the video. The putter fitting was okay, not worth £2,000, and the putter was okay.
Yeah.
Like, actually, I've been using the putter.
Well.
I actually really like the shape of the putter. I love the feel of it. I love the weight of it. All those things are real positives. It has rusted underneath where I didn't ask for this, but they've actually put my logo on the bottom of the putter, and they've almost stripped back the finish of the putter to reveal the kind of shinier element of the putter, and that's where it's unfortunately gone rusty because it's not protected. I also played on some greens that had like fertilizer on or something that's left some kind of weird white spots across the putter. I mean, it's aged very, very, very quickly, the putter.
Well, what's interesting here is when we, and I'm sure a lot of people know this, but when we review golf clubs, it's done completely kind of impartially, and you give your honest opinion on whether a golf club is good or bad. And this was a bit different because not only was this a golf club, it was essentially a service, wasn't it? And it was a very, very premium service. So we were, and you were, should I say, very honest and somewhat maybe brutal in your approach that this, you know, you got this experience for free, admittedly. This would be £2,000 for a consumer. The fitting was okay, staff were lovely, the putter took a long, long time to come, and obviously there's been a few issues with it, rusting, etc. So we reported that into the video, and obviously off the back of that, Ping got in touch, and to be honest with you, Ping were incredibly gracious about it. They completely understood where they'd lost and where they can improve. They offered you a new putter, which I think we kind of turned down because it's just a bit of rust. It doesn't really matter, it's fine. But actually what they did say, which I'm really kind of happy about and quite proud of, is that they have really looked into all the criticisms, and they are going to hopefully rectify them and really improve the experience. So if any of our listeners, our fans, or of the podcast, or Rick's fans on the channel or anything, are thinking about going having that experience, I think down to the fact that our review was so brutal and fair, that experience will be much more elevated and hopefully much more closely aligned to what you'd expect from a £2,000 putter experience. So I think even things like the unboxing, they're going to look at that. How can that become a bit more exciting, a bit more fun, and justify the price? I
think if we, as we do, if we're at golf events or golf courses or a driving range, and a fan comes up and says to me, "Oh, Rick, I've booked a £2,000 putter fitting," I wouldn't feel comfortable in its current service that is a value for money. I would say, please make sure that you're getting the best service, or wait until they've made some correct changes. And
that's it. And I think if you got a person off the street and gave them that fitting that you had, I'm guessing they would be quite impressed by it, because a lot of people have never had a putter fitting before anyway. However, let's be honest, the person that is going to spend £2,000 on a putter fitting experience with the putter included has had every fitting under the sun. You know, they've been for fittings, they've done it all before. So if they went to that, would they walk away impressed? I don't think so. They'd come away with the same impression that you had. So that's nice to see that's been rectified, hopefully. And we'll see how that gets on. So if anyone does have one of those fittings in the future, feel free to kind of write in, send an email to podcast@rickshiels.com, and let's hear if it has improved or not. Like watchdog.
I feel like we're doing a lot of that today.
You have to.
We're calling out pin positions and expensive fittings.
Well, something else I want your thoughts on then. There's been lots and lots of talk. We've touched on this before, but now the event has been and gone. Stephen Dunford has asked us, Rick, what are your thoughts on the Myrtle Beach Classic qualifier that Pete and several other YouTube golfers participated in, and would Rick accept an invite to participate should he ever get the opportunity? So just explain what this...
If I've got enough subscribers.
Yeah. What was this event? Let's explain what the event was to people that maybe don't know.
It was somewhat of a clever marketing ploy, really, which I actually would say has been successful. Myrtle Beach have a golf event which is on the PGA Tour. I'm not actually sure when it is.
You know. Sorry, my chair's been really noisy again.
Effectively, they had an invitation where they had 8 YouTubers, personalities, content creators, and 8 kind of tour pros who are on the cuff of being on a PGA Tour event. They had 1 round shootout, and the winner of that 1 round shootout got exemption into this PGA Tour event. Okay, the video was filmed quite a while ago, quite a few weeks ago now, and the guys did an incredible job at keeping everything under wraps. They must have signed NDAs, and nobody knew who the winner was. Nobody knew what the results were. And then, was it last week, Myrtle Beach YouTube channel put the full video out of the full experience of the guys playing. It was almost like a little Netflix documentary style. A little bit of, I think, unfair criticism for the Myrtle Beach video.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was quite good considering. I know they had a lot of time to edit it, but I thought to be able to film that many people, 16 people on a round of golf and different groups and be able to kind of feed in different storylines, I actually think they did a really solid job, to be fair. Since that, a lot of these creators, the 8 creators who played in it, so you had Peter Finch, Michael Morris, Grant Horvat,
FP,
Fat Perez,
Luke Kwan,
Dan Rappaport, Luke Kwan,
and then you had...
was it one of the Buster Jack guys?
Yeah.
Buster or Jack played in it. That's 7. Who else? Oh, George Bryant.
Oh, yeah. But he feels like a player.
But he was there as a content creator.
He was.
So since that, these 8 content creators have released almost their own version of the event. Friday night, Claire was out, my wife, out with some school mums. And I thought, there's not much on TV. I'm not sure what to watch. I'm gonna watch this Myrtle Beach video from Pete. Okay.
Yeah.
I messaged Pete at 9:30. I've not been on alcohol for a while now, so this is not alcohol induced. I said, "Hi mate, really good Myrtle Beach video, pal. The editing really captured the emotion. Also well played."
Yeah.
He said, "Thank you and thank you. Felt like I was hanging on for dear life at times, but managed to style it out." And I must admit, Pete shot one over.
He had a good round.
He could have won. He genuinely could have won.
What went through? What won?
He had a 3 under.
So he was, 4 off.
To be honest, he dropped he had 2 penalty shots in there. He had a couple of silly putts that he missed. He had a great eagle on the back 9. He could have genuinely been under par and potentially won and playing in the PGA Tour event, which was a bit mad. But he did very, very good considering the pressure. I think that's the thing that definitely affected a lot of the golfers, because if you actually look at the leaderboard, 3 under 1. Let me just fact check that. Myrtle Beach. What was it actually called? Qualifier.
I just had it up then. It was. Bear with me. Yeah,
was it 3 under?
It was 3 under. Atkins and George Bryant. Was it Matt Atkins?
Yeah. So they went through to a final. They went off to a 1 playoff hole because George Bryant actually shot. He bogeyed the last, and Matt Atkins birdied the last for him to put them both on 3 under par. They played the last hole, and then Matt Atkins birdied it again to actually get through. Since, I don't know if you've heard this news, Myrtle Beach themselves have actually, the Myrtle Beach Classic, have reached out to George Bryant and also given him an exemption, which a lot of people are kind of not happy about. I think it's great. I'm glad they've given an exemption. There was talks about, what was the point in the qualifier? But genuinely, I think that was. If you're going to get eyeballs to a tour event, put someone like George Bryant on the start sheet. I think that gets more eyeballs than Matt Atkins does.
Yeah, I have mixed thoughts on the whole thing, really. I think initially when I heard about it, there was a lot of backlash from people who were very much believing that you shouldn't be giving away a spot to a YouTuber, that, whatever. And I was quite for it, and I thought at the time it was very kind of innovative and it was a one-off thing and, whatever. And then when I learned that there was kind of 8 creators and then 8 actual kind of serious playing pros, if you like, it took something away from it for me. And I think really I kind of feel a little bit, and this is silly because I know George Bryant tied and has now gone through. But again, I see George Bryant really as an amazing golfer who has a YouTube channel rather than a YouTuber who's good at golf. That's fair.
You see him as an amazing golfer who has a YouTube channel.
Yes. Whereas I see Pete as being a YouTuber who's also very good at golf.
Yeah.
Same as like Grant Horvat or FP. I think the YouTubers, firstly, who are really good at golf. I don't think George is that. I think George is an almost tour player. Very, very, very good. And he documents himself. So
he's made a cut in a PGA Tour.
Well, that's what I mean,
event.
exactly. His brother is a PGA Tour player. He knows standards. He's an amazing golfer. So Matt Atkins that won, and according to the PGA Tour website, is a veteran Corn Ferry Tour Pro. Quite hard to say that weirdly. So I'm not surprised that he got through, and rightly so. He's obviously a very, very good golfer who deserved that PGA Tour start. But I just kind of felt a little bit like, I don't want to say being clickbaited because that's the wrong way of saying it really, but a bit like they've used these 8 guys to get eyeballs on the event when, let's be honest, it was inevitable that either George, who is a YouTuber but almost a real player, or one of the real players would get through. And although Pete did really, really, really well, so fair play to Pete, it kind of feels like all that was done just to get the eyeballs on it. Do you know what I mean? So I don't really know. It wasn't, if it was actually 16 creators and one of them would go through to a PGA Tour event, That would be insane to think that there's literally, let's say there was you, there was Pete, there was Fat Perez, there was Grant, there was GM Golf, all these guys, and one of those would be in a PJ Tour event. I'd be like, oh my days, I have to watch this. I can't believe that Peter Finch might be in a tour event, or you might be, or FP. But when I knew then beforehand, when I found out there was 8 guys who were actually like proper full-time players, I thought, oh, one of them will get through. I didn't even watch it. And in the end, that was the case. So I don't know. I felt a little bit cheated by it.
There was, I think a lot of people were surprised by the scoring as well. So out the 16 guys, obviously George Bryant was the highest content creator / he's a player.
Yeah.
Peter Finch then you would argue was the highest content creator.
To be honest, I'll hand on heart, I was very impressed by Pete's score. I'll be honest.
I watched his whole video on Friday night. He played really well.
That is serious
and
golf.
He could have easily been under par, honestly. With very little effort, he could have easily been under par. I think with the risk of this, there's a risk of having a bad round of golf. There's guys in there who I think a lot of people are surprised about, like someone like Luke Kwan, who is known as being a very, very, very good golfer, 6 over par. He would be disappointed with that, I'm sure. Dan Rutherford had a great round at 4 over from 4 play. Grant Horvat, 7 over par. Again, I think people will be quite surprised about that. FP being 9 over par.
See, and that doesn't, those two, I love Grant and love FP, but they don't surprise me that much because they are guys who are content creators who are also great golfers.
Don't surprise us. I
think it's fair.
I've played golf with them. We spent time with them. We know they're not to the level of a Tommy Fleetwood or a Minwoo Lee.
The way I look at this is, I would say Grant Horvat and FP etc. are proper scratch golfers, right? Maybe a +1, whatever. But when I've been a member of a golf club and you've got guys who have scratch, who are seriously good golfers, whenever they go to a proper open or even open qualifying, they're always shooting late 70s, 80, 85s, etc. It's just what happens. It's just a different level. So when I personally saw that Grant and FP shot those scores, I didn't think they'd played horrendously.
But again, I think you compared to what maybe the fan base. I think the fan base, and they can shoot these scores, don't get me wrong, but Luke Kwan, Grant Horvat is almost always on the par.
Yeah.
And then I feel bad for Michael Morris. He shot 14 over, 86. He had a terrible start. I don't know if he's actually released a video from the day yet. Like, how did he actually shoot 14 over par? Did he just have a horrendous start? Let me just see because I know he's addressed some criticism, but I actually don't think he's not released an actual video yet to show how he actually shot 14 over par. But to some degree, I mean, I can sympathise. It's easy to do. It's really, really easy to do. If I was to put myself somewhere on this leaderboard, I would be somewhere between Grant Horvat and Micah Morris. I just know I would. I would find the pressure very difficult to deal with. As much as I know I can shoot a good score and I know I can compete with Pete and I know I can, play good golf, I just know under a situation like this, out my comfort zone, playing a very challenging golf course, I know I'm always going to be in this kind of 7 over to 12 over to 14 over. It's just, I just know that's where I'm going to sit.
But I think again, this is something that we highlight a lot when we have the Masters on, and we always say we'd love if a random normal golfer played, because Grant Horvat's 79 or FP's 81 on that golf course in those conditions with that pressure is not the same as a 79 or 81 at your local golf course on a Saturday medal.
It's not at
all.
The
79, I would say, literally becomes probably level par, and the 81 might be 1 over. And even the 86 is probably like a 7 over.
Of course it is.
So it's very, you can't look at those scores. That's the thing with golf. I know we said this before again. If you're an athlete and you're a casual person who runs a 5K in 25 minutes, let's just say, you can appreciate how good a 12 or 13 minute or whatever 5K is, and equally how, I don't want to say bad, but how much slower a 45 minute 5K would be. But golf, the score is so different depending on the conditions, the environment, everything, the weather, that you can't look at those scores in isolation. So I think that, again, to Micah's round, he obviously played badly, but that's not the same as an 86 at your local course.
He would absolutely wipe the floor with every golfer of 2 handicap plus. Micah Morris would wipe the floor with anyone who is all the way down to 2 handicap, and probably even those guys as well. He'd absolutely dust them. I've played golf with him. He's an unbelievable golfer. He hits the ball so bloody far. That's his only downside. Micah Morris hits the ball so far off the tee, he's not as accurate as he could be. Yeah. And on a golf course like that look very, 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 very tree lined, you just hit a couple of bad shots and they find the trouble in the trees. You can easily make double or triple from nowhere. And then certainly something that's high profile as this, and if you got off to a bad start, it's just then damage limitation.
What would happen then? Would it be good or bad for YouTube if there was this kind of event again, but it was literally YouTubers only, and even maybe George Bryant was kind of excluded because he's almost too good, and it was like your actual YouTubers, and then one of them got through to the PGA Tour.
Love that.
But then, what do you think would happen to then that golfer in that event?
They'd get absolutely.
And would that then be bad?
They'd get absolutely chewed up and spat out, I'm afraid.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So let's just say Pete, we'll use Pete as an example. He qualified because he's one of the better YouTube golfers. He then plays on the PGA Tour, and if he shot 85, obviously wouldn't make the cut. Does that then look bad that he's the best or one of the best and that's the score he shot? Or does it just not matter to people? There's another question. Do we get mixed with that? Does it matter like who's better out of Grant or Pete or Luke Kwan when they're all doing it for like fun, for content? Does it matter how good they actually are at golf?
As content creators, I don't think we really care.
No.
Well, I'll chat to FP and I don't think they really, really care who's best. It's a nice little badge of honour. I think fans care more. Yeah.
But I wonder why people do care, though, because people don't watch for the best golfers, do they? Because otherwise they'd be watching the tour, not YouTube. Like I don't know now, hand on heart, who's better out of GM Golf or Grant, let's say. Probably a great match, but doesn't matter, does it? Like...
And also, they've had one match, and that doesn't like... Because on paper, I'm better than Grant.
Did you beat him?
Yeah. But that's one match, isn't it? Yeah. You know what I mean? Over 10 matches. Like, again, the match I had against Pete, I took him down the last. Over 10 matches, that might be... I don't think you can really even justify who's better in one match.
Yeah.
Can you really? Even one round of golf. That was one round of golf. Like... qualifying for the Open is at least 3.
But then you could also, I know FP comes from Bob Does Sports, but Bob himself now, obviously with yourself, is one of the biggest and most popular creators, but he would never go to that event because he's clearly not good enough.
I think he cadded for FP.
Well, that's what I mean. He's not going to play in that event. But yeah, does it matter that he isn't the best player when he's one of the biggest followings?
It's weird,
isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, that was fun. Should we do another podcast now that's released on Friday?
To go back to your point.
Yeah.
I will wait for an invitation and then decide whether I would do it or not.
So if Myrtle Beach do it again next year, would you accept their offer?
It depends.
Potentially.
Depends on what the minimum amount they're going to pay me.
What score would you bite my hand off for now?
79.
Yeah. Great. On that note.
But I was thinking this the other day, right?
Friday night. I need a wee, by the way.
Friday night. Yeah. Have a guess what else I did after watching Pete's video?
Had a bath in your new ECCO shoes.
No. I went online. Okay.
Yeah. Was Claire in at this point now?
No.
Okay. Did you delete your history afterwards?
No.
Oh, wow. Risky.
I went online. I typed in the Open.
Okay.
And I looked at Open qualifying.
God.
And you know why?
What day was this?
Friday.
Okay.
I had no drink. Sober as a judge. And... what a weird saying that is, by the way. Sober as a judge.
Well, I think judges have to be sober, don't they?
Do they get breathalyzed before going into court?
Yes.
I don't think they do.
Are you thinking about Open qualifying?
I feel like I need something to aim for.
What about the fact that every video you play, 500,000 people are going to watch?
And I feel like I need something bigger to aim for. Whether that's Open qualifying, whether that's Myrtle Beach Classic... whether that's...
Not beating me.
Someone has one good round of golf.
Let's start at home. Let's start close to home.
No,
I think something like that is a good thing to aim for. It's just
I feel like I need something to make me practice because I'm not practicing.
Yeah, but are you going to put in enough effort to then do that?
That's what I'm saying.
Right,
but if I commit to it...
Great. Can I go to the toilet?
Yeah, I'll finish off.
All right, I'll see you in a bit.
See you in a bit. Bye. So let me tell you how I'm going to qualify for the Open, everyone. No, but seriously, I might. Matt, are you there? Matt, you talk to me, please.
I'm here.
Do you think I should try and qualify for the Open?
Yeah, I think you should. I'm up. Yeah, all for it.
I don't want to put too much time in, but I want to put a little bit of time.
Yeah. There's something to be said about having a goal to aim for, though. So
I feel like I've got no reason to practice right now, like nothing. I don't know what I'm practicing for.
Yeah,
and I've lost sight of practice. I'm practicing for the next round of golf, and I don't think that's fair on myself.
Yeah, you don't really have a specific target, do you?
No, because then it's just the very next round of golf.
Yeah. I like that. I think enter it now. Oh no, enter it on the Clubhouse podcast.
The only thing I'm slightly worried about, I feel like Friday I could find the qualifying, and now I can't. Has it not ended already, has it? I could do it at Caldy in Liverpool.
Yeah.
I could do it at Hesketh in Southport.
Heard that one's tough.
No, I can. Hesketh's not hard at all.
There's another one that begins with H. I can't remember which one it is. It was on last year's. Was it the one that Carter played?
I think that is Hesketh.
Is it Hesketh?
Honestly, I've played Hesketh a number of times. I'm saying this now. I've played very nice around Hesketh. It's not super challenging.
I like that.
All right. Well, find out in the Clubhouse podcast if I enter open qualifying. Guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe, and we shall see you in the exclusive audio-only episode of the Clubhouse this Friday. Have a good week, everyone.